Hello, everyone. It's Katerina Pekova, the Community Manager at STRV. I would like to welcome you all here, whether you are watching us from Zoom or YouTube channel. I hope that this talk will go without any major technical issues and you will all enjoy that. To make your experience as lifelike as possible, you have many opportunities how to interact with other participants or our speaker directly. So firstly, when you are watching us on the Zoom, you have an option to raise your hand. So once anyone will raise their hand, we will unmute you and you can ask the speaker your question directly. Also, you can post your question to Q&A section. We will get to these questions at the end of the talk. And also you can chat with the others in the chat section. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can also post your questions over there and we will make sure to pass your questions to the speaker as well. Okay, so that's everything from me. And now I would just like to give a word to Jan Hovorka, Backend platform lead, who will introduce our speaker, Allan George from Brazil, our backend developer. Thank you very much, guys, and enjoy.
Thank you, Katka. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our another Backend online talk. I hope you are all having a lovely afternoon. And yeah, before we move to the presentation, I would like to mention as well that we are hiring. So if you would like to be part of our lovely team and grow next to the great developers such as Allan here, feel free to reach out and we will look forward to have you on our team. So without any further ado, Allan, please.
Hello. Yes, the hearing?
Of course.
Perfect. Let me start by sharing my screen so we can start in just a minute. And here we go. Can you see it? Let me check. So yeah, I think we can get started. So hello everyone, I'm Allan. I'm a backend engineer here at STRV. And today I will be talking about a little bit how you can build a VOD platform. And when I talk about VOD, I'm talking about video on demand. It's not live streaming. They are two different things. Think of it as you are building, I don't know, a Netflix or a masterclass app. So let's get started. First things first, we need to start with the basics, which is like some points we need to cover first. So when you start talking about VOD, you need to take care of storage. So where are you going to store your source files? Because I don't know, you might have a studio recording your content. So you have like this raw file that needs to be transcoded, encoded, and distributed. So where you're gonna host it. So after you have your files, how exactly are you going to upload your videos? Because, you know, sometimes you have an admin page or you have, I don't know, really huge files and you need a proper way of handling them. So some spoilers, you will need TOS. TOS is a protocol for resumable file uploads. So you can split our file into smaller chunks and upload it, and if you need, resume it as well. So of course, we need to handle transcoding and encoding. So which formats are going to support? So we have HLS, we have Bash. These two are the standard if you want to do live stream, if you want to do streaming over the internet, because they can handle, like say, you have just huge MP4 file that's, I don't know, 1 GB long. You don't want to stream it right away. You want to split it into smaller files and having also some different qualities. So you can have someone watching it, I don't know, in SD or Full HD, and can also switch along the way or even automatically if they have a poor connection. And with that, we have resolutions and bit rates. So are you gonna support everything? Are you gonna even support 4K? Sometimes you don't need it, all of them, but it's good to have. So as I said, if someone has some hiccup or something's not working properly in their network, they can still watch the content in a lower resolution. So after that, you also will need to take care of the whole actual delivery, because right now we're just talking about, okay, you uploaded the file, you have it available, but now how can people consume it? So you will need a CDN, and that's where things get really expensive. You can, depend on your business logic, you should also worry about security. So are you going to support signed URLs? Are you going to support DRMs? DRM are the most expensive ones and not so, let's say, reliable, I would say, because even Netflix get their content, like they have piracy issues. So signed URL usually is the way to go. You should also worry about which video player you're going to use, what they support. Do they support authentication? So you need to take care of all of these issues. And also analytics. So let's say that you want to know how many of your videos are being watched, by whom, from where. So these are also things you should have in mind. But also, you might also need subtitles. You might also need multiple auto tracks. You might also need to worry about thumbnail, watermarks, and everything. So we'll get more like deeper in some of these scenarios. So let's go. The first question, the actual question is, when you need to build such a platform, do you want to do it by yourself or use a third-party provider? Because both of them, they have their trade-offs. So let's start to do it yourself. We can have like the easy, not the easiest, but the simplest way. You're gonna have to build your pipeline, right? So the pipeline goes like this. You need to host your file in some bucket, S3 bucket, or whatever your cloud provider offers to you. Then you can watch this bucket for new files. So whenever someone uploads a new file, you can start processing it. You can just have a FFmpeg script to listening to this bucket and actually transcoding all of the videos into the HLS or Dash playlist and small files. And actually, you need to actually create a playlist, because the way it works, you have a lot of playlists, big and smaller ones, where the player can choose which file they're gonna actually stream. So let's say you're streaming something in Full HD and the player detects, I don't know, the connection's not that good. They can, oh, okay, we are using the Full HD playlist, let's switch to the SD one so the user can still watch it, even though their connection is not so great. The pros are, it's really cheap, because you can just, I don't know, spin up a EC2 machine and just have a script there, and that's it. Gonna pay what, $10 a month for just processing the videos. You also have all control of everything. So if you want to tweak, if you want to change something, it's all yours. You can just do it. So yeah, if you want to experiment with different bit rates, go for it. But there are some cons as well. It doesn't scale, because let's say that now we have like a lot of new videos being uploaded. So your script probably is not going to handle it pretty well. And also, you're not worrying too much about how you're going to actually deliver it. So you need something that supports it. It's quite error prone, because you're making everything on your own. And you actually are not, like, say, you're not a specialist in building video platforms. So of course, you're going to build a lot of mistakes. And of course, a lot of guessing, tweaking, and also manual work. Because FFmpeg is a really complex tool. And sometimes, you just want to get the job done, but you need to still configure. Sometimes you're using the wrong flag. So a lot of work. This is an example of what a FFmpeg script would look like. You would have your input file, a lot of like weird parameters going on. It's their own language, like say. Here in the bottom, we have the source if you want to try it out. But this whole script is just to generate this. You have your playlists and different playlists and different folders with the different, let's say, bit rate, different resolutions. We could move a little bit further, take another step, a better step, or a better approach, and try building everything on the cloud. So the pipeline would look like something like this. Of course, we always have different approaches. You can just Google VLT platform, AWS, and see a lot of different approaches. And I will show the diagram that is stole from AWS blog post. So the flow would be pretty simple, let's say. As I said, you will always have to have some source bucket. So here we have just an S3 bucket. Then we have some lambdas listening to any changes here in the source bucket. Then we fire AWS media convert. And the media convert is the service from AWS where you can set and work with any type of video file and set a lot of different and custom parameters. So you can have a different manifest saying, hey, for this type of video, I wanna exactly this bit rate. And it's quite simple, actually. Then after this, you can just put in some destination bucket. And from there, you can serve everything from here through CloudFront. The other thing that if you want to, oh, something fails, you want to reprocess it, or after it's finished, you actually want to, I don't know, send it as like a notification. It's really simple. The pros, you can easily extend it. So let's say that now you need, to insert the video metadata into a DynamoDB table, easily done. So yeah, if you want to trigger another step with a Lambda to just fires like notification, should be simple. Another thing that's quite good, you don't need to worry too much about like, I don't know, how actually video works, how FFmpeg works. You are working on a higher level of abstraction, so you can get things done quickly. And of course, we have some cons as well. Can get a little bit pricier because now you have a lot of different components and all of them, they have their own pricing scheme. So it can get like quite pricey compared to the previous one. And another downside is that now you don't have just one script. You have a lot of different things. You have lambdas, have different services. And you have to have a way of making everything fit together. Be it, I don't know, using infrastructure as code, having some really strong understanding and diagrams of how everything's fitting together. So if you are in a small team, sometimes could be quite an undertaking to just build everything in using 4 or 5 different AWS services. But also we can use third-party providers. Video streaming is not something that's rocket science, so someone already solved it. So why not just use some service that can do everything for us? So of course, we have a lot of providers. We have Mux, we have Wowza, we have API Video, we have Vimeo, we have Cloudinary, and my favorite, we have Cloudflare Stream. And the difference between them is that every single one, they offer you some different pricing, and the pricing is actually not so straightforward. And I will get back to it later. So yeah, the pros are basically, they will take care of everything. You don't need to worry about how we're going to stream it, how we're going to actually transcode it. No. They offer you an API and you can just use it and have a final URL where you can just send to your front end, and that's it. So yeah, having the point to upload everything, they take care of the storage for you, so don't even have to worry about it. Transcoding, delivery, but of course, as everything, we have some trade-offs here. It's not so flexible. So whenever you want something more, something different, usually they won't operate. So let's say you want to support, I don't know, 4K or 8K. If their API doesn't support it, you're screwed. Like there's nothing you can do. You can just tell them, hey guys, I need this feature, and that's it. Or let's say you want to process the video a little bit differently. Hardly they will expose any sort of API for that. Usually they don't. So yeah, you can't do much. Also, with any, let's say, cloud solution, you are vendor locked. So let's say you built everything on top, I don't know, Cloudflare Stream, but now the business changed and you need to also change the provider, or you want to move to AWS, let's say. But all your logic is vendor locked. So now you have a lot of work to actually move from this provider to another one or another solution. And I think another really good point is the pricing, because usually these providers, they are really, really pricey and they are not so transparent. So they say, hey, till, I don't know, 100,000 minutes streamed, it's this price, after that, call us, or even, oh, we charge for storage, for streaming, for transcoding, yeah, call us. So whenever you are starting a new project, it's quite hard to make these decisions before actually, coding, because you don't know where you're stepping in. So just to give you guys an example for one project, here at STRV, we try to come up with some just like numbers so we could actually make a proper decision. So here we were like, oh, okay, Cloudflare Stream, they only charge for streaming storage. Everything else is already included. API video, they charge for streaming, transcoding, and storage. Mux, the same. Cloudinary, the same. And you can see, like, here Cloudinary, I must have made some mistake because this number, like, what the hell? But in general, that's how it is. You need to do all this calculation on our own, and you must actually watch out for what is happening. And yeah, in the end, for my current project, for the previous one, sorry, we decided to go with AWS because we needed to have this really like control over everything, because we didn't want to spend that much money just for streaming some videos. And with AWS, you can actually control, oh, I'm spending too much money on Lambdas, just don't use them, or use less of them. But yeah, and with Cloudflare Stream, we had a lot of good things to talk about them. One is just like really plug in. You just upload the file and that's it. So here's a piece of code. It's quite simple. Basically, you post the video to this like stream endpoint, and you return a URL for your front end to actually upload the file. And that's it. That's literally it. We don't have to take care of anything else. So here we're just setting some custom headers, so the front end and the Cloudflare can handle all the TOS logic, but it's really, really simple. And this is like their dashboard. So here we clicked on a video, and it's really cool because we can even, let's say, our client, they don't have, I don't know, lots of developers, but on their own, they can just open the dashboard and actually tweak some videos. Or they can, I don't know, oh, this video is now, it's public, but we didn't want it to be like that. They can just, oh, now require signed URLs, and it should be done. And of course, when we talk about video streaming, we need a way of people actually having the right to access the video, not everyone. And for that, that's why I've been saying signed URLs a lot. And for Cloudflare, it's really, really simple compared to, I don't know, CloudFront from AWS. Here's the code to actually get the signed URL. You literally just need to have, of course, the secret, but you just calculate the token and return as a part of the URL. You don't need to send any extra headers, any other, I don't know, query string or whatsoever. So for the front end, it's perfect because they don't have to handle any extra logic. And from just with this, you can already stream any video you've uploaded to Cloudflare Stream. But yeah, we have a lot of gotchas, some things that you need to watch out for because they will bite you back for sure. So first, CDNs. Like, it's really expensive. I think 99% of your expenses are gonna be for CDNs because that's where they make money and that's where people are that's where people are gonna actually consume your videos. And why CDNs, right? Because you don't want your server handling every single connection. It won't be possible. You're gonna pay even more if you try, you know, just to scale your network. So that's why you use a CDN. But still, they're gonna charge you a lot because now you have to handle how the cache is gonna be hit or not, when, and when using signed URL as well. So be prepared. And if you are talking about, like, I don't know, CloudFront, you can sign the URL of a playlist. And why would we want to do that? Remember when I was talking how the whole HLS and Dash works is basically building small playlists with smaller files so the player can actually consume it. So we don't want someone with a link of our playlist to just share it with anyone and anyone could access it. That's not what we want. So we need just one specific person with some specific logic to access it. But the problem is playlists can be made out of playlists. So if we sign just one, it can't access the other ones and the other way around. And that's one of the main reasons I choose Cloudflare Stream, because you don't have to handle it. They handle it for you. And that's if you really need to use AWS or any other, I don't know, provider, try to look a little bit for edge computing. For me, like, this is the future, like, say, because now you can have custom logic on how your application, how your content is delivered on the edge on actually the CDN. You know, you can have custom logics there. And as I said, Cloudflare Stream takes a different approach. And when we're talking about videos can be quite big in size. You know, can be like really large files. So it's not so unusual to see videos with 500 megabytes or even like gigabytes. If you use your plain put or post methods, it's gonna take a while. And the way the browser handles it, sorry, the way the browser deals with it is quite interesting, because on the beginning and on the first second it's gonna be fine, but 1 minute in you're gonna be like, why is this only uploading 10 kilobytes per second? So that's why TOS is quite an interesting approach, because it splits your file into smaller chunks, and you can even, if I'm not mistaken, upload in parallel, because the backend will know how to assemble everything together. And you can actually use all the bandwidth of your client. So it's quite interesting. But of course, we have some problems with cars, always, right? So watch out for cars. You're gonna have some big troubles with it, because like in the case with Cloudflare Stream was interesting, because the user has to post on our backend, and we'll return a link in the header with the new location where they should actually upload the file. But they can't actually upload directly to the to this like final link from Cloudflare, because the cores won't handle it, won't let it from CloudStream. So that's why we needed to tweak a lot of things, but in the end it worked. Another really important thing is you really need to come up with some numbers. How many people are gonna watch your videos? How many videos you're gonna have? What is the completion rate? How many times someone can watch or will watch one video? So with this, you can actually make a better decision on which solution you're gonna have. Because if you just have, I don't know, 100 users with 3 videos, you don't need to make all these complex decisions. Oh, let's go with AWS. No, I mean, you don't have this scale. You don't need to handle it. Just probably a FFmpeg script will do the job. But also, if you have a lot of users watching the videos many times, watching like 100%, then you need something more like suitable to handle all these access, all this streaming, all this data. So it was quick, 30 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to give like this overview. I didn't want to get really, really deep into it because we could talk about it the whole day. So that was it. Now it's time for the questions. Do go ahead. Any questions? Bring it on.
Yes, Allan, we have one question from YouTube, and it's basically about the costs. So if the Cloudinary costs so much, is it actually worth to use it?
So Cloudinary is quite interesting because they offer a lot of different solutions. And that's the thing. I think we made some mistake when coming up with the numbers, but even if we didn't, the thing is, it's not a flat rate, but the more videos you are consuming, the better the pricing is gonna be compared to the other ones. And also they offer, if you also need to handle, I don't know, images, resizing, they have a lot of these different, like say, tools to handle everything related to media. So if you're just handling videos, I would say not really. But if you're also handling, I don't know, images, if you want to do a lot of different complex stuff with media, they might actually be quite worth it because they offer a complete solution for you regarding media. So you could also, I don't know, negotiate with them some better rates for sure. So yes, that's it. Any more questions?
Another question that's coming from myself. So if you are, if you would build another VOD platform, which approach would you choose?
Cloudflare Stream for sure. I mean, of course, before I would come up with the numbers and see what would make sense. But like in the end, you need to come up with what you need to sit down and study your use case. Do you really want to go fast? If yes, you can't afford building things on your own, and you can have them biting your back in the future, right? And in order to do that, you need someone else to do all the hard job for you, and that's where a third party provider comes in, and that's why I would choose Cloudflare Stream, and that's what I chose for my current project, and it paid itself off quickly because instead of, I don't know, spending 2 weeks to 1 month building the whole infrastructure, in less than 1 week we had the whole pipeline working already.
All right. I don't see any other question coming in from neither Zoom or YouTube.
Yeah, I think we also have, for those who are in the Zoom, I think we'll have a poll like asking what you guys would prefer if you had to actually implement something. If you would choose the do-it-yourself, you do rather use AWS or use a third-party provider. Okay, perfect. I think we have another question. It's from Martin. He's asking if we do it, if we do it ourselves, what are the possible performance bottlenecks? Perfect, good question. It depends. If you're using the FFmpeg approach, the bottlenecks are basically the machine you're using. So how many processors and how good it is, how fast it is. So the whole processing time. And of course, as well, the streaming bandwidth, because it's not, you have a limit. If you're using AWS, the bottleneck is basically yourself. And by that, I mean how scalable you made your infrastructure. Because again, for AWS, we are using Lambdas. So it's just a matter of finding more Lambdas, because all the bottleneck usually from streaming, who handles it is the CDN, because it's where the content actually is. It's who is delivering the actual content. So the bottleneck usually is handled by the CDN. So yeah, that's what I would say. It doesn't matter as long as you use a CDN. The CDN would be the bottleneck. And if you need like live streaming, then I don't know. But basically, your bottleneck will always be your CDN. And uploaded the videos as well if you have a lot of videos being uploaded. Any more questions? And from the poll, yeah, people got really interested. No one was interested in the FFmpeg do it ourselves. But yeah, guys, sometimes it might make sense to actually implement everything on your own. I've talked to some friends, they had, because they were handling video as their core businesses, as the core business. So they actually had to tweak a lot of things on FFmpeg, a lot of parameters. So for them, it made perfect sense, you know. So they could, you know, oh, these frames should be like this and like that. So in this case, they really had to build everything from scratch, and they had a special team just for it. But yeah, AWS or either a third party like Cloudflare Stream for me is the way to go as well. Yep, so I think that's it from my side.
I saw one hand raised in the Zoom chat, but it's already gone. So is it still a question?
I'm gonna step in. I think that Stefano write his question down in Q&A, and I can read it to you.
Yeah,
Let's say there's some tech issues and the service goes down. How quickly can you recover it with the architecture you choose?
If by service you mean, because we have two different parts of the infrastructure. You have your, I don't know, content management system, be it your app or whatever you chose. But you also have the VOD platform that handles all the video streaming actually. From this, you don't need to worry much because once it's up, the only thing that's going to interact with everything is your CDN, right? So if you have a S3 bucket with the data, with the final videos, CloudFront or even Cloudflare, whatever you're going to choose, Akamai, they will handle it for you. So don't have to worry about it. It's not going to, I mean, if they're down, half of the world is down as well. So don't worry much about it. But if you're talking about more how the pipeline works, something goes into problems, that's the thing. Because everything works async, you don't need to worry much when things break, because they will break. But the videos that are processed, they will stay there. They won't disappear unless you make some really weird, bug that can delete everything from your S3 bucket. But regarding your actual application, your CMS, then everything can happen. There is no, let's say, proper answer to it because it comes down to any system architecture, how we recover from disasters and everything else. Because we have some issues when we were prototyping, like, oh, this lambda is stuck. But the way everything was built, even though we're using AWS, doing it ourselves, we ran down because the CDN, the CloudFront was up, so that was fine. We just couldn't process any new video files, but that's okay. If worse happens, you can just still have your old content being available while you work on why everything is not properly being processed. So I hope I answered the question. Yeah, and for the current one, again, we are using Cloudflare Stream because we needed to go fast. And in the end, we also saw, we come up with some numbers, and Cloudflare wouldn't be so different because, again, the pricing is going to be the CDN. And if you compare CloudFront with Cloudflare, they're like the pricing is quite competitive on both sides. But with Cloudflare Stream, we also have the whole Stream API. So that's why we choose them. And yeah, it's quite worth it.
Right, we have one more comments. It's more comment and question coming from YouTube, and it's from Martin, and it says, thanks. I thought it's much more complicated. Seems since you can rely on AWS and CDN, the only bottleneck is a wallet.
Yeah, definitely. So again, if you're handling video, the bottleneck is going to be your wallet, always. And that's why it's quite fun, you know. Depends on actually what you're doing. Again, if your core business is actually, you know, building some custom video processing, then things can get pretty wild. But if in the end your core business is just streaming, then yeah, you need it.
All right, we have another question from Victor. For CDN usage, would it be mandatory to use it for a small project? As I understand, most of the content that it's stored is static. Are videos part of the static content?
Good question, actually. Even for small projects, depends on what you mean by small. But yes, I would say yes, because let's say that you have a EC2 machine on AWS, and you know the amount of data you can offer to the internet is limited. I don't know. You can only transfer, like, say, 100 megabytes per second. So let's say you have 1,000 users, every single one consuming the most they can. So then you hit the bottleneck already, you know. Your videos are going to be slow to load for almost everyone. So that's why you want to use a CDN. The CDN will actually shield your whole application from this, because they will take care of how they're going to deliver it. So that's why usually, even though your project's really small, that's why you would still choose a CDN. Otherwise, you're going to have, you know, to scale your machines or your network somehow so you can have this availability. But it's going to get more expensive than actually using a CDN. Because CDN also, they work with caching, so you can have better prices if you have the same content being delivered again and again. So that's why. Okay, I think that's it. Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any more questions coming in.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. It was my pleasure. If you guys have any further questions, you guys can send me through my email, allan.jorge@strv.com, and we can talk about it. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So if there are no other questions, I think that's it. Thank you very much, Allan, for a great presentation. Also, I will be sending follow-up emails. So if you have any questions, you can answer the email, ask there directly. And also, we will really appreciate your feedback, where you can also write all your questions or suggestions for future topics which you would like us to cover. So I'm posting the link to the feedback form right now to the chat, and you can also see it once you close your Zoom window. So that's it. If you want to participate in another STRV events, the closest one is IOL Talk on 22nd of April, and we can promise you that we will do our best to cover next Backend Talk pretty soon. So if you don't want to miss that, just check out our STRV websites, event section, or our Eventbrite page. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye.